Hey, Dinar Ninja here. Today is Sunday, June 23rd, 2019, and this is an article from the Philadelphia Inquirer titled Recession Risks Are Uncomfortably Rising as Faith in the Economy Wanes. And it says, if you're a reader of the Inquirer's business pages or even casual CNBC watcher, you've probably heard the R word a lot lately. Yes, recession. You may be a bit perplexed by this. After all, the unemployment rate is at a 50-year low, and there are a record number of opening job positions in nearly every profession. The stock market is flirting with an all-time high, and come July 4th, the economy will have consistently grown for more than a decade, becoming the longest economic expansion in U.S. history. It's not just worrywart economics who are fixated on a coming downturn. It's also many business executives and investors. So what's all the loud hand-wringing over recession about? Driving the angst is much slower economic growth. Some slowing this year was anticipated as last year's growth was temporarily juiced up by deficit finance tax cuts to most wealthy individuals and large corporations. This fiscal stimulus has since faded away, and some ill effects of the tax cuts, including softer house price growth due to the scaling back of preference in the tax code for home ownership, are playing out now. But the economy feels more fragile than anticipated. The problem is President Donald Trump's trade war. While the tariffs the president has actually imposed have been modest, 25% on $250 billion in Chinese imports to the U.S. and some steel and aluminum imports, his threats are anything but. Currently in play are 25% on the remaining $300 billion in Chinese imports and about $275 billion in vehicle imports. Businesses appear spooked by the president's capricious trade policy. Moody's Analytics Global Business Confidence Survey, which asks respondents 9 questions about their operations, is as weak as it has been since the economy began its ascent out of financial crisis a decade ago. Duke University's quarterly survey of CFOs is even more pessimistic, with about 2/3 of respondents saying a recession is likely by the end of 2020. And Morgan Stanley's Business Conditions Index, which is designed to capture turning points in the economy, suffered its largest one-month decline on record in May. Recession angst is also evident amongst investors in treasury bonds. Long-term treasury yields have fallen sharply since last fall, as investors are strongly betting the Fed will lower the federal fund rate several times by the end of the year to ward off an even weaker economy. The Treasury yield curve, as measured by the difference between 10-year and 3-month Treasury yields, is firmly inverted. That is, 3-month yields are higher than 10-year yields. I won't explain why, but this rarely happens, and when it does, has presently signaled a recession about a year later. The curve is not predicting recession yet, but is awfully close. And you can read the rest of the article. I'll put a link to the source of this article at the bottom of the YouTube video. Thanks for tuning in.